Hey there. I'm here today to talk about a little bit about Markus Witte. He's a breatharian, pranic living on light kind of person. And even though he's from Germany, he shares most of the information in Spanish. So you can find like some of his talks in English, but there's like not much out there. I know he lived in Mexico for a while, and that's why like his Spanish is really good. So I just did his retreat in Mexico, and it was for sure the most experience, like the most intense experience of my whole life. The most intense and profound, and just like those are the words that I can find, but actually is really it's very hard to explain, to put into words what you live in one of like his retreats. First of all, I would like to give you an introduction for those of you who don't know Markus. He was born in Germany. He was an electrical engineer, and he was living a normal life like everyone else. And when he was 40 years old, he realized he wasn't happy. He had like everything society told him that he had to have in order to be happy, and he wasn't happy. He found himself like with a great job, with money, an apartment, a girlfriend, and he was just like not satisfied with his life. So then he started like searching different spiritual kind of like retreats. So he did like a Vipassana retreat, which I'm not very familiar with, but as far as I know, like it's some silent retreat. Then he did the 21-day process, which is basically the Jasmine classic Breatharian process, which is 7 days, no food, no water, 7 days water, and I think 7 days diluted juices. And after that, he kept like going like in search of like that happiness, and started like realizing he didn't want to work, and that was something that was stressing him out so much. So he quit his job. He was with no job. He broke up with his girlfriend. He started to experience more and more with like fasting and like not eating, not drinking. And he got to the conclusion that we actually, as human beings, we need nothing to be healthy and happy. And he's nowadays just walking around the world barefoot most of the time, and just camping. All his belongings are in a backpack. And he's not a person who's like organizing retreats anymore. He used to do that like maybe 8-7 years ago, but right now it's actually, he doesn't care about it. And it's actually people just from different parts of the world who are organizing the retreat and just flying Markus in. He doesn't take any money other than like some donations, but what he's charging the retreat is like the place where you're going to stay for 8 days, and basically just that. And of course, like with that money, like they pay like some fruits, that because the retreat, they start like with some fruits and finish it again, kind of like breaking that fast. The retreat is nowadays 2 days water, 4 days no food, no water, and 2 days water, and then we break the fast with some fruit. But what is very interesting to me is the other aspects of this retreat, that it includes silence, complete silence, other than the times, part of the day where Markus is like sharing with us and like answering questions, but that's just like once a day at the end of the day. And then no cell phone, no watch, you have no idea what time it is, and no books to read, no magazine, no distraction, as he says. Like just like it's you with yourself for 8 days with no food, some of those days no water, and dealing with your own mind and thoughts and everything that comes with that. So it's hard to start telling you about the retreat because there are like so many things that like I keep like processing and just remembering and just like going through. But I can start like talking a little bit about Markus, like the things that impressed me the most about him, which I will be happy to share with other people. So Markus, first of all, is a very serious person. Like you see him and he's not a person who's like all the time happy, like looking happy, like smiling, laughing, whatever. He looks like pretty serious, but in that seriousness, I feel like there's kind of like just so much wisdom and knowing that like this reality is a simulation, is like not the real thing, and he's just in enjoyment of himself all the time. The sensation I got for like after spending like 8 days with him and not seeing him like drinking or eating or going to the bathroom at any time is that he's actually really happy with himself and where like with his life. We were in a house that was like very pretty. It was like just in front of like a lake. We had access to the lake from the house. We could swim in the lake, swim in the pool. There were like, the house had like different levels, so you had like a beautiful view of like the hills and the lake and so much nature. It was in Cuernavaca. Tequesquitengo is the place. It's near Cuernavaca in Mexico. And I feel like myself, as other people who were there, I was kind of like, oh my God, I'm such a beautiful place that I want to take full advantage and I want to enjoy this place as much as I can because I live in an apartment in the city, in a big city. So I feel like everyone else was kind of like in that mood, right? But not Markus. He was kind of, you will see him like inside his room, which by the way didn't have a bathroom inside. Inside he had like this kind of crappy room next to the lake, but with no like view of the lake whatsoever, and it was very tiny. I saw the room because at some point like it was like, you know, he would like open the door or whatever. It was a very like small kind of darkish room. He will be like most of the time there, then he will like come out and stay 10 minutes looking at the lake and going up and down stairs, checking everything was okay. He had like great energy, like to be kind of, you know, going to the kitchen. There was like always water for those people who didn't want to do like the dry days. So checking on the water, just, you know, refilling, whatever, cleaning, checking the trash cans and everything. So I feel like, I mean, he wasn't like running or anything, but he was in like great energy doing the things he had to do. While most of the participants, I will say like all of them, all of us, we were just like dragging ourselves like up and down the stairs and just like laying down all day, and just, I feel like we were all like detoxing so much and feeling weak and everything. So first of all is that, and the fact, I mean, the sensation that it gave me is like, I saw him like just once entering the lake. Maybe he went to like more than once, but I was pretty much like all day out and like around the house, and I saw him just once going for a little, you know, just a little swim. But yeah, actually it's like he didn't really, it felt like he didn't really care about the beautiful place. He didn't care about like the beautiful views. He was just like there, living in the present moment. And every time like I saw him, I was like, this is a person who's really here and now, you know. At some point he talked to me like just a few times, and kind of like, you know, to answer some question or whatever. And when he looked at me, I felt like just like, this is a person who is present. This is a person who's looking at you and is just looking at you. It's not like lost in his thoughts or whatever else, or thinking, yeah, just thinking about like what to say, what he's gonna do next or whatever. So that gave me kind of like the feeling that he's so happy in himself. He's enjoying so much like his own body, that is like just such a pure vessel nowadays, that he doesn't need absolutely anything from the outside. He doesn't care about like being, I was like, I want to be all day long swimming by like at the pool, at the lake. And he was just, he didn't care. I mean, and that tells me like how happy he truly is, how much he's enjoying himself, that he doesn't need anything from the outside to be happy, or like, as he says a lot, like to distract himself from the pain he's going through, which is where most of society, we as a society are nowadays, I feel. So first of all, that really shocked me, and is such a powerful energy to be around, and it's very magical. It's very magical, I feel like, to be in his presence. And the other thing that really shocked me was kind of like his answers. He's very like straightforward, and he doesn't care at all about like being a people pleaser. He really doesn't care. I mean, he's gonna say whatever he has to tell you directly, kind of rough sometimes, not going around like something to make it nicer or whatever, or using like pretty words. I mean, it's not like he's rude or anything, but he's just like this and this and this, and that's it, and let's go to the next question and whatever. So the meetings we had with him, we were all kind of like, you know, like in a circle, and he will take something. Let's say, I don't know, I have this here. So he will take something like a little bottle of whatever, like repellent, like insect repellent, something like that. And he will pass it, and he was like, while you have this in your hands, you can talk. Once you pass it, you cannot talk anymore. And he was like, silence is more than welcome. But if you have a question or want to share something relevant, you can talk. So the first meeting we had, he said that, and he passed the little bottle, and the next girl started saying like, yeah, well, my name is this, and I come from whatever, and I arrived to this retreat because blah, blah, blah. And then the next girl does the same, and Markus went kind of like, wait a minute. I didn't invite you guys to be introducing yourselves. I don't care about like your name. I don't care about like where you come from or whatever. That's just gossiping. We're not here to gossip. We're here to live this experience, and if you have questions, you can ask. If you have something very relevant to share, you can share. And I was like, whoa, at first. But it makes so much sense, because when he says, first of all, like, he emphasizes a lot about how we all live in a personal lie, right? He calls it like the personal lie. So he was saying to the girls, like, I don't care like about your personal lie. That's not who you are. That's not, it doesn't have anything to do with the essence, with the pure being you are, you know? So he emphasized a lot in the fact that we all live in a personal lie, which has like our names and what we do for a living and where we come from, you know, like, who is our family, where do we live? And he says that is creating about 50 to 60% of the intoxication we're dealing with, because all that is a lie, because it doesn't have to do with like who we really are as eternal beings. It's just something for us to identify us more and more with this body, and with creating this ego, which is actually the source of like all the problems we see in the world nowadays. So he says like 50-60% is our personal lie, then 20 to 30% is food intoxication, because everything is toxic, and then the rest will be more like environmental things and kind of like radiation, whatever. So first of all is that, and I thought it was like super interesting because I never went to a retreat where like we wouldn't like introduce ourselves, talk about ourselves, and share like our personal life and be like gossiping all the time. And regarding that, it was such a profound experience that most of the people who were there, I had like no idea who they were or what their names were. And just like sharing in a space with people, and I'm just sitting there, you know, like, and somebody else comes and sit with me, but we don't talk, and we're just there being together. That to me was like really profound, and kind of like realizing exactly like how much energy we spend in talking and talking. And when he was talking, he was like, I'm talking to you because I need to share this information, and you're here like to hear this. But it's true, like he wasn't a person who was like talking just blah blah blah, you know, like because the sake of talk, like around the retreat at all. Like he was like all the time super in silence and quiet and just kind of like meditating, but not really. He will be like, not like, you know, like classical what we think is meditation, but just observing everything and contemplating, you know, the people around or the surrounding, the nature. And that was really interesting to me. And regarding this percentage of like toxicity, he says like, for example, like you can see there's many people who cares a lot about their health and who do everything to get to, you know, be in good health, and they end up having like a very nasty disease. And he says that's why probably the person has like a very very huge personal lie, and the story they tell to themselves is not nice at all, and that's what causes like a cancer or like, you know, diabetes or like obesity or like whatever like disease out there. Then some interesting like questions and answers, Q&A, where that, for example, he emphasizes a lot about like playing, like we're here to play, we're not here like to work, to create a family, to blah blah blah. We're just here like as children are here, and they play and they show us, they try to show us how to play, but we just start like, you know, like putting in their heads like, oh no, you need to do this, and what do you want to be when you grow up, and like all the lies, and we start like, of course, like intoxicate them like so much with all the drugs we take, all the food, you know, addictions that we have. We start like passing it like to them. And so he was saying like many people think they are happy, but actually they're just distracted. And if you remove all the distractions, the person will realize how like screw up like they actually are. And it makes a lot of sense. During the retreat, I thought I was gonna drive myself crazy. I'm a person who right now I'm not working much, so I have like a lot of like spare time, and I have the sensation that I never do anything. But actually being there in the retreat made me realize that I'm always doing things, like whatever it is. Maybe it's not like the productive kind of things for like what society thinks, like, oh, it's, you know, you're working or you're doing this or that, but I'm always doing things. And I'm kind of used to, you know, the fasting, and every time I'm not having like a load of intake, I start sleeping so little. And during the nights is my time where I like do them like so many things, you know, like I could be reading or like listening to music, dancing, stretching, doing some yoga class, like you know, like by myself, or just like cooking for my dog, organizing the house, cleaning. It's like always like I don't sit at night and just like be with myself. There's always some sort of like doing, or as he called like distraction. He says like there's nothing to do and there's nothing to say, and we're just here to play and to be in the present moment and to share with others the love we are, and that's it. And that was such a lesson, I still like going through that, and it still be so hard to me to just sit and not do anything. There's always some sort of doing in my life, and I think it's like where like many people is at nowadays, you know. And so he talks a lot about like this distraction, how like when you are living a life that it doesn't suit you, and none of our lives suit us because we are like these immense, amazing, extraordinary beings, and we just like keep doing some BS job here on earth, or just things that are not important for our soul or our, you know, being the amazing, perfect being we are. He says when you are doing that, when you are like immersed in this like ego kind of society and just going to look for your money and your food and like all these, yes, you are creating a lot of anxiety in yourself. And that anxiety, we just hide it under mainly a drug that for some people is alcohol, cigarettes, other harsh drugs, or food. He says like most of people go for the drug food, just like they feel anxious and they go and open the refrigerator, which I feel like is so true. You know, many of us like we're just like eating not out of nutritional value or really hunger. It's just boredom or like just anxiety that we want to hide somehow. We don't want to feel it, and we fill up our stomachs in order to like feel heavy and feel somebody like something else other than the anxiety and the emotions we need to process and let go. So that was that. And I feel that kind of distraction we're looking for all the time really comes from like our identification, right, with the ego and everything, and that hunger that we feel. He says like there's no such hunger. He says like it's just like the hunger, what you call hunger, is just your body trying to detox themselves, because we're not made for food. We're not made for eating. And many people always ask him like, oh, so then why do we have like an IG track? And he's like, you have it just to release whatever you accidentally got in. So it's like he says, you know, if you see babies, they are putting everything in their mouth. So sometimes mistakenly, like they are the thing, because we explore through the mouth, and sometimes something can go down and the body needs a system to put that out. If not, like we will have like a bunch of things inside along our lives or whatever. And so he says we're not made for food. We're just here to explore and to play and to enjoy this game, which is just a simulation, is not even real, and we're something like way more bigger than this. But there's certain, let's say, entities or beings that we can call parasites or fungi or all these little things we have in ourselves, or these little alien sort of, you know, creatures that are the ones actually running the show. And everything you see around is kind of like their show, what they put out there, because they have control us in such a way that we are going to be doing things in order to get them what they need to keep surviving and thriving, and they're harvesting like our energy, kind of. So that's interesting. And he say to change the way you eat and start like eating less and less until we reach this natural state of being that is like not eating and not drinking. He says we need to give up the life that we created for us and realize what we are not, right? He emphasized like it's not about like getting enlightened or like search like our soul purpose or whatever. It's just like removing all the layers we have been like for so many years building up until the show that we see is run by like this little parasites or whatever, and our ego, and it's not, our life is not in the hands of our true being. So one of the participants, when Markus was talking about like distraction and actually having fun, what is having fun, what is like really playing like a child, and what is like I'm just distracting myself. She was like, how do I recognize like when I'm distracting myself or when I'm just like experiencing having fun? Because she said, because yesterday that was like the day after like people had like some fruit like at the beginning of the retreat. She said like, yesterday, you know, like I was having this mango and I feel like I was enjoying this mango and I was playing with the mangoes, having like so much fun. I don't think that was a distraction. And Markus say, well, you know what? If you have been like waiting for everyone to eat a mango, and if there was one mango left, you have gone and grab it and just have it, that's having fun. And we all start laughing because mangoes, there were like such few mangoes and everyone wanted like mango, but like there was no mango like 10 minutes after they put the mangoes on the table. So I think we all got that. Then this other girl, she said to Markus something like you know, it's so hard to me. I live with my daughters, blah, 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 and they don't like the way we live. We don't live in a city, like so far, we live like so far away in the countryside. And also like the father of one of my daughters, he wants to take her away from me because of the way we live, and they never went to school. And Markus says something like, well, just, it's not like your daughters, it's not like your children. We are just, you know, it's like all children are children of everyone, as all parents are parents of like everyone. We shouldn't be like thinking so much about like my child, my daughter, my son, my dad, and like, you know, all the minds and all the attachment we have. And Markus says like, in a tribe, for example, like the mother of a baby doesn't care about the baby. From the love, doesn't care. Let the baby like be free and experience the world, and everyone's kind of watching, but nobody really cares. And when we care so much about somebody or something, it's because we're waiting something in return, and we have like there's some interest to that. And he said like true love, like there's no interest, or we can love without like being expecting so much from the other person or thing. Or so she was kind of like, just let them go. If they want to go, just let them go. That's the most loving thing you can do for your children. And that was hard to hear for her, of course, I bet so. And